What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first ever episode of Justice for All. It's a continuation of the Wind Chill Factor, so it's not like anything crazy. But I definitely went all out in this first episode because I had to bring in some of the most special guys in the Buffalo Bills community. Period. Um, three of the most special guys in the Bills community. I love all of them. All of them are super special to me in some way, shape, or form. And I'm really honored and blessed to have these three gentlemen on with me tonight. I really appreciate every single one of them. But without ado, I'm going to start bringing those gentlemen on. First up is my man, my brother, J Spence The King. What is going on, bro?
I switched the name up on you with the Vacation Spence. That's my bad. My fault.
No,
man.
you good, bro. You on vacation? It's all good, man. How's vacation
What's
treating
good?
you?
Man, well, you know what? It's been short because we were supposed to be off last week, and then the Brian Flores news dropped. So I was like, Joe, we got to do Hump Day.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, I'm actually having a guest on talking about diversity and inclusion. So I really haven't even started it yet. But hopefully, after tomorrow, I can let you know how that goes.
All right, cool. You get you some rest, bro. I know you work hard, but J Spence The King, of course, is the host of the Code of Conduct podcast.
Yes,
absolutely amazing product. And he also hosts Food for Thought?
No, that's Bruce. I wish I was as good. I do the chop up on Saturday nights
chop
with,
up. I know it's
with
a
Kristen
thing.
Kimmick, with Ange, and with Steros for the Girls from Cover One.
Okay, very dope, very dope. He also does Hump Day Hotline with my man Joe Miller. Speaking of Joe Miller, what's going on, man? How you doing, man?
I'm here. President accounted for, sir. What's up? I'm in the room.
Amazing to have you on, Joe. I really appreciate you guys for joining. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great. I'm kind of in vacation mode as well, but there's a big difference between being on somebody's show and doing your own show. Yes. The stress level is it's not way here. It's like way down here. So yes. I could do this every day of the week, like 9 o'clock, just be on somebody's show, like show up and talk. That's easy. Creating content, bro, that's rough. So
I 100% agree.
I'm doing great. I'm doing absolutely great.
Awesome. Well, that means you guys are gonna have to come on more shows then. If you know, hey, so that you said it, not me. So all right, cool. And he also does the Overreaction podcast, of course, as well as Time to Shine, where he allows you guys, Bills Mafia, to call in and just talk to him, tell everybody how you feel about the Buffalo Bills, and he'll talk back to you. So that's a very dope product.
And Off Tackle with John Fina. Don't forget that one. Can't forget the big cat.
Yeah, you can't forget the legend. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, John. If you're listening to this, man, I messed up. That's on me.
Big dog.
But you guys are a really special tandem that I think are a very, very important part of the Bills community. You guys together, you do great things. You guys are a great team. You look good. You sound good. You make great product. You guys look good together. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, no, thank you. Yeah, like, it's just high praise.
Keep going. Keep talking.
Yeah, need to let you intro me on my show, man. Do it.
No, man, but seriously, I have with me a guy who I guess I would kind of consider, my my partner in crime, if you will, as you guys are. You guys are a great team. I feel like me and this gentleman are a great team as well. I really enjoy working with him. Me and him talk every day about whatever, Marvel, cartoons, and it doesn't matter. This is my man, my main man. And it's not Friday night, but we still got Superstar Jake. What is going on, Jake Jordan?
Well, Superstar Jake is ready to come out at any occasion. Okay. And if these guys are the Legion of Doom, we are LOD 2000. Maybe not as good, but still pretty cool. So definitely something that you got to look forward to. Guys, this is an awesome show to be on tonight. There's definitely going to be a lot of good talking going on tonight. And of course, Justus isn't going to butter me up as much as these guys, but I do my own show too. Me and Justus do our own show.
Well, I was going to get to it.
I know. But and of course, it's a new show, but if you've been on here, you've seen us on Monday nights, so .
Absolutely. This is a continuation of the wind chill factor. Of course, many of you guys in the comment section were here with us for the wind chill factor. So appreciate you guys. Thank you, Kim, my man. Appreciate you. I'm sorry. A Rich in the building. Stars are out tonight. Absolutely. I 100% agree. But my man Jake Jordan has the full primetime slot, of course, because he does the lowdown with Jake Jordan. That drops every single Friday on the Built in Buffalo Podcast Network, as well as First Round By with your boy and our man Izzy. We do that every Friday night at 9. And my man Jake is always ready. Anytime I need somebody to talk to about football or just whatever, Jake is always there, and that's definitely my boy.
And can I say real quick, because Jake, he said like he's not gonna butter me up like he did you two guys. First, I'll be honest with you, I would much rather have the title of brother and friend than like, and that's just that's the whole. And I'm sure Joe can say the same thing. You got the title there, bro. Like you won.
I'm gonna change my name right there, or wherever, however I can point at that. It's gonna say brother and friend, no longer Jake Jordan. I love it.
It works.
Absolutely.
It absolutely works.
But let's get what we're here for tonight. So we did have some breaking news, if you will. Today, the Buffalo Bills did hire their new offensive line coach, which is going to be Aaron Kromer. He was previously the Buffalo Bills coach earlier, I think it was 2015, 2016, and he's going to be coming back to Buffalo. So I'm going to get you guys' opinion on that, and we're going to kind of work our way up. There, actually, just give me your whole opinion on the new offensive staff right now, right? We got Ken Dorsey, we got Joe Brady, and now we got Aaron Kromer. And it's going to be a completely new look from what we had last year, obviously, with Daboll, Dorsey, and Johnson. 2 new faces, and of course, Dorsey steps up to the offensive coordinator position. Jake, let me know how you're feeling about this new offensive system going on.
Well, Kromer was kind of the offensive line coach when I told you I first got into the Buffalo Bills, when I finally was like, all right, well, I'm finally going to actually start paying attention to football. And, if you ask me, I mean, the offensive line seemed to perform pretty well. And of course, I've told you exactly what I think about this offensive staff. I still think it's going to be a continuation, hopefully, of the last stretch of the Brian Daboll play calling. And it's going to be a little bit more balanced. It's not going to be just this all-out pass attack that we saw maybe at the beginning of the season. So just for a quick, refresher of what I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be just a continuation of what we have seen before. And hopefully, it's going to change up a little bit. Obviously, you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. But I do think that Ken Dorsey and his staff are going to be able to take that and then go forward with it and then improve on it as such. Jump a little bit, obviously.
Absolutely. I think I agree. J Spence, how you feel about it?
I love it. I think just like you mentioned, top to bottom, just the changes that we're seeing in general. But if I'll start with Kromer, the Buffalo Bills led the NFL in rushing in 2015 when he was our offensive line coach. So now, obviously, there's going to be a big difference there. We don't have LaShawn McCoy. We don't have Richie Incognito as our left guard. And we don't have, they had a different set of guys that we were looking at, but he's bringing that expertise back. And then what we saw towards the end of the season with Devin Singletary, I think he could, I really do think before we came live, Justus was actually talking about how Devin Singletary has some similarities that when you look at his game and LaShawn McCoy's, just doesn't have that burst of speed that kind of can just burn everybody in the dust. But when you're talking about bringing back, I hate to sound like Rex here, the idea of building a bully, this is what you want. You want this type of offensive line coach, and that, you got Spencer Brown. I think this move for Spencer Brown is this is how you're going to see this guy turn into an all-pro, right tackle for the upcoming years.
Yep. Are there any other specific offensive linemen you got high hopes for with this coming change in, the scheme?
Me personally, I think Dion has gotten a lot better than a lot of people wants to still admit. And, like early in the season, we were hard on Dion, and I don't know why. He got better from COVID, but he still wasn't performing up to the level that I guess we feel like a starting left tackle should, but he was. And, he'll give up a couple plays here or there, but everybody does. I'm looking forward to seeing this take him from Pro Bowl left tackle to all pro left tackle. Like I'm getting to the point now where I want to start seeing Pro Bowl in front of my Bills name. So, shout out to my man Jordan Poyer, but I'm ready to see that on the offensive line now. Like let's get Dion those accolades as well. I think he can do it.
I mean, he made the Pro Bowl this year. I think it might have been a surprise to a couple of people, but he did it, and so he played well down the stretch as well. Joe Miller, what's your thoughts on just the new offensive system going on?
So I find the whole situation intriguing as it pertains to just history and what we've seen. Is it, I'm the guy that came out, what was it, 2 weeks ago, I think, on a Monday, and just it was when the Ken Dorsey conversation about him going to potentially the Giants and following Dable was big. And I said, I misspoke, I overstated, and I said it's been widely known that there's been tension between the offensive coaching staff and McDermott. And I was basing that off of just stuff that I had heard from the inside, and also the stuff that we've seen in public, which was McDermott coming out and saying, we're on the same page. And for any of you that are here that are married, if your wife says we're on the same page, it most assuredly means you're not. Like, you're not on the same page, or at least you weren't 10 minutes ago. You might be now, but you weren't 10 minutes ago. So for me, Dorsey coming back, I think speaks a lot about, because we know he had opportunities, and he had opportunities in big markets. It wasn't just the Giants. What he's bringing to the table, I mean, he's a quarterback. He came from a quarterback's coach. Dable is kind of his guy. I don't share Jake's kind of enthusiasm over somehow this is going to be a more balanced offense, especially with Joe Brady. The problem Joe Brady had is he was in college with all that elite talent around him, and it was a throwing machine. And he got to Carolina probably a little early after 1 year, right, in the college ranks, wanted to throw the ball around the yard, and Matt Rule wasn't having it. Matt Rule wanted to be a little more conservative. So I think he's more of a fit to what we've been used to seeing with Brian Dable. For me, Bobby Johnson, his time was done here. Cody Ford, like there's a lot of guys. There's a lot there for me that hasn't been developed. This is where what's the word I'm looking for? This is where we run into issues as content creators, because we're not inside that locker room. We don't know what the coaches want. We don't know what McDermott wants. We don't know what Dable wants. We don't know why they were trying to play a zone and a wide zone when they're clearly better fit for pin and pull, which we saw at the end of the year when they finally committed to it and said, scrap this nonsense. After it didn't work last year, they finally scrapped it, and they became productive. I'm kind of glad that Bobby Johnson is gone. I'm excited for Aaron Kromer. I'm excited to see what he can do. Hopefully he can put the pieces together and use this team for what it is. But I'm not necessarily sure that this means balance is coming to Buffalo. And to be honest with you, with Josh Allen as my quarterback, I don't want balance. I want efficiency. J Spence will tell you that. We want efficiency on the ground, but I don't need balance. 60-40, no thanks. 55-45, no thanks. 70-30, let's do that.
Yeah. And I'm with you, Joe. I don't think this spells balance. And just to back up to your point about Brady, when you're looking at him in Carolina, I don't even know if it was necessarily that Rule was like, no, you're doing too much in the air. I think obviously Cam Newton just wasn't Cam Newton of old days. If he had a quarterback there with an arm, I think we would have saw him air that thing out. So the fact that we have Josh Allen who can do both, and the fact that we now are starting to see, like you're talking about, the difference in the running game towards the end of the year and in the playoffs, I think it's going to play to both sides of what he can do well. And with this offensive line coach, I agree with my man A. Rich in the comments there. He said he thinks Kromer is an upgrade over Bobby Johnson. So when you have, he absolutely is. So when you have a better offensive line coach with better offensive line play, your running game is going to be better. But then you bring in a guy who, this is the reason why everybody loves Joe Burrow, because this guy was saying, no, let's go out there and air this thing out. We're going to throw it as much as possible. And I think that's what we're going to see from Josh. I'm calling it now. I know it's early and everybody probably wants to jump on this bandwagon. But this is the year that Josh is actually going to get MVP. I'm not going to call a Super Bowl. But he's going to put up the numbers. He's going to come out angry, because the Josh Allen that we saw for the last 3 weeks that he played, that's the Josh Allen that we're going to see for the most part of the season. Now, we might have some moments where he forces it. Don't put that behind him, because he's so hard.
It's different now.
It's different.
He set a new ceiling. He set a new ceiling for himself and a new floor. I mean, it's different.
Which is the problem. It's a good thing, and it's the problem at the same time. When like now you see Josh play on this level for 3 weeks in a row. It's like, okay, this is Josh that we expect. So
Right,
now
right.
internally, if the offense isn't clicking that way, you're gonna see, I guarantee it, you're gonna see Josh just gonna come out and be like, no, we have to be that offense that we were those last 3. And it just might be too much. But I really think that this is the year that Josh gets that MVP.
I'm just hopeful because I apologize. I'm just hopeful that we see him hitting the guy in the flat. I'm hopeful like they started to turn the screen game on towards it, so where Josh was willing to take those checkdowns, those underneath.
I don't mean that
too much sometimes.
But I don't mean the screen. I don't mean the screen. I mean when it comes down to it, where like when the team isn't clicking like we feel like they should, is when he's gonna say, you know what, the Tampa Bay game, where he said, you know what, I'm going to win this damn game by myself, and he almost did. He absolutely almost did.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have times when our schedule next year is not a cupcake schedule.
No.
We're playing top talent throughout the entire season. You do that against the wrong defense, and guess what? We're gonna go home, and everybody's gonna be on this platform, and everybody's gonna be on Rumblings and Fanatics and Cover One, and we're gonna be talking all this shit about Josh Allen. I'm sorry. Can I cuss on here? My bad.
Sorry, bro. Do your thing, man.
My bad.
No, but real quick, J Spence. So I have this annoying ass train in the back of me, right? So I decided, why not be creative with it, right? So now, whenever, and Jake could tell you, he hears the train all the time.
It's third down.
Whenever we hear the train,
it's third down.
Third down somewhere.
On this show is hot take, and since J Spence was talking, I need a hot take from you.
Oh well, I mean, I guess the MVP isn't a hot take.
That's a hot take.
No,
you don't think
Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the league? MVP is expected.
All right, so well, if I got to go with a hot take, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna say Josh Allen. Not only will he win MVP, he's gonna lead the league in yards and touchdown passes. Nice. Not the combination of touchdown passes and runs. I'm not talking, but touchdown passes. He's gonna lead the league in that and yards.
Okay. All right. Well, I know how you feel about Josh Allen. I feel like that's a little safe. But all right, I'm gonna let it slide. Because bro, I'm right there with you. I keep trying to tell people this is the most talented MFer we've ever seen in the league's history, and they don't want to listen. Like, so I know how you feel about Josh Allen, so I feel like that's a little safe, but I'm gonna give it to you.
Okay, I tell you what, because you're right. No, because Joe got at me one time on Hump Day. He was just like, "What, dude? You're going too hard." I was like, "No, I feel like we have the best quarterback in Buffalo Bills history on our roster."
That was early 2020.
No, I'm not saying you're saying it now. Yeah. I'm not saying you're saying it now, but I felt like that for a long time. I've been saying yo, Josh is the best quarterback to wear a Buffalo Bills uniform in history, and I feel like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it a step further. Then, since that's where you at, I'm gonna say Josh Allen is gonna lead the league in passing yards and touchdowns, and he's gonna edge out Lamar Jackson for most rushing yards by a quarterback next year. He's gonna get the trifecta on these boys. That's what's gonna happen. Give my man the triple double next year.
That's a hot take. All right,
love that.
I'm with it 100%. Let's get that. All right.
You'd be surprised how many people on Twitter are still like, no, Jim Kelly is still a better quarterback than Josh Allen's been. I'm like, all right, come on.
Better's tough. We don't want to go down that road, but better's tough.
No, we don't.
So,
Jake Jordan. If the Bills go to free agency, is there a running back that you would want specifically? My man Ryan Thomas has a question.
All right. So we talked about this on Friday. And you obviously know that, there's guys out there that they said like Melvin Ingram. And I was like, I don't necessarily think, and I know I said balance earlier in the show, but what I meant is kind of like more efficiency. So like when I go to it, what are the Buffalo Bills really going to do? I feel like they like what they have in Singletary. And I don't know if you really need to go out and spend big money on like a guy, unless you can get him for the cheap. Like, I don't think and see them doing that, because there's other areas on the team that they could use and allocate money to. So they've got Singletary. I mean, I know they still have Moss, whatever you want to think with that, but I could still see them going out. And I put that name out there. I said Dearness Johnson. That's a guy who I think is going to be a dog. And we've seen what he could do when he was given the opportunity. And people can be like, whatever, like some people downplay that, but I'm like, look, when he got the opportunity, he took it. And I think that's a guy that you could get on the cheap, bring him into your team, and he's going to be competition. I think he easily just from what he showed, probably beats out Zach Moss and whoever we have as our third running. He could easily be running back 2, and you don't got to spend that much. And if Singletary went down, you know what he's able to do and did this season when plugged into a system that if he has the blockers in front of him, he can take advantage of it and absolutely light teams up. So I think that Dearness Johnson is a good free agent option for the Bills, and it still leaves them money to be able to go put money in places where they actually need to be spending it, where I don't think they really think that running back is that huge of a need.
Well, I mean, okay. We gotta get like our sides together, right? Because I don't really know who is on one side of the fence here. Okay, so I am of the opinion that Devin Singletary should just be our like workhorse running back. Not necessarily workhorse, but like he should be the only running back on the field when he's healthy and you know what I mean. He's not exhausted or something like that from being on the field too much. Then okay, give him a blow, but I think he should be on the field whenever we need a running back on the field. So, Joe Miller, let me hear your opinion on our running back room. Do you feel like Devin Singletary is the guy, or are you trying to see more competition come in for a committee?
So I like Devin Singletary. I like any guy that can make a dude miss in a phone booth. There's something about what he can do in space. I mean, I found myself, and if you listen to my show, I think I said it on one of the last ones I did, just that I would catch myself with Singletary in space, just yelling like, make him miss. And he would, you know what I mean? That's what we do, right? When we watch football, we yell at the TV. I like Singletary. And I think I said this with Spence on the last Hump Day hotline. If Devin Singletary had speed, he'd be the best running back in the NFL. One of the best running backs in the NFL. He just doesn't have the wheels. He has the motor. He just doesn't necessarily have the wheels that are required to go with the motor. I have a feeling we're going to find ourselves potentially in a very similar situation in the running back room that we're in the quarterback room, which is, I don't know that. I mean, we know that Breed is gone. Antonio Williams, if I'm not mistaken, is gone to the Giants, right?
Yep.
Yes.
There's a good chance that Zach Moss might not be on this football team either, unless they can figure out some way to get him to work with this offensive line. I don't think it's a Zach Moss problem as much as I think it's just not a fit. What the Bills were trying to do from the running back room with that offensive line, just it wasn't working at all.
Do you think he'll fit better with Aaron Cromer?
I don't know that answer. I'd be ignorant and I'd be talking out my bunghole if I acted like I knew what I was talking about. I don't know what Cromer. I don't know what his bend is. I don't know if he just coaches to the guys that he has. I don't know if he's going to try to fit or force a system on them. I don't know if it's a situation where Dorsey's going to want to do something like, I want to play this offense and this run scheme, which is largely what we've seen over the last couple of years. They've wanted to be a wide zone team. They're not a wide zone team. They don't have the horses to be a wide zone team. They've got a pin and pull team. We've talked about it already. As far as the running backs go, I wish that Nyheim Hines was available. I don't believe he is. I'm pretty sure he got re-signed by the Colts, but that's the kind of guy I want. What's that?
Marlon Mack.
Marlon Mack isn't bad. Saquon Barkley's out there. They're talking about him being available, and that was on Twitter today too. And a lot of people are like, I don't want that guy. It's like
there was actually some dispute against the source that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Now that's a dream world, Saquon Barkley, right? But get me a guy that's got some speed and can find a hole and squeak through it. So I've got a true 1-2 punch in the backfield. Give me a guy that complements Devin Singletary versus a guy that just doesn't, if that makes sense, right? Okay. That's kind of where I'm at. But I think they're going to find themselves just like the tight end room. I think the tight end room is going to be the same thing. Tight end, wide, running back, and quarterbacks. I think we know who the three guys are, and then after that, we'll see.
All right, J Spence. So, first of all, I want to get your opinion on if you think Devin Singletary should be the guy, or do you like the idea of a committee? And then after you give me your opinion on that, I need to know how you feel about the possibility of Saquon Barkley coming to Buffalo, because I am of the opinion that Joe Shane is a sleeper agent that Brian Daboll hired to go out there and run another team so that we essentially have double the assets, right? So, because I've never heard of Joe Shane before he got that. I'm just going to be honest. And I live and breathe Bills football, and I never heard of that man. So I need your opinion on whether you think Saquon Barkley would be worth bringing to Buffalo, making the attempt to bring to Buffalo.
Well, I mean, it's Saquon, right? So it's like when you know who Saquon is, and you look at who he's been when he was first coming to the league, when he was healthy, is like, yeah, if we can get that Saquon, absolutely sign me up every day of the week. My concern is I don't know if we'll ever see that Saquon again. So my thing is with the number that he's going to hit some team's cap. And I don't know if I want it to be the Bills. It's too much to put into a guy who might not be available. And we always say the best ability is availability. He hasn't been available. He just hasn't. So as much as I think he's a beast, and I agree with my man A Rich, I understand, like, yo, if he's available, I'm all in on it. Okay, but what if we get him and he's eating up that $18 million a year and he only plays 3 games? That's not what I'm looking for. As far as Devin Singletary, I think what we saw from Devin Singletary to end out the season is what you want to build on going forward. But I can't say that I'm sold on Devin Singletary being a workhorse back. He's smaller. He's not what Shady was. I know we try to compare him. He's not Shady. I'm more of and I also saw in the comments, they said, like, please God, no free agent running backs. I want Cordell Patterson. That's where I'm at. Now, before we went live, Joe's like, yeah, but he's hitting that age too. He's going to fall off a cliff. Very, very true. The thing when it comes to, for me, when I look at Cordell Patterson, he hasn't exclusively been used as a running back for his career. So when you're looking at the running backs get beat up and then when they hit 30, they kind of fall off the cliff. He hasn't been used like that. He's been a punt returner and a kick returner, maybe a wide receiver here and there.
Fred Jackson.
Now
Jackson. That's late in life. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So now if you're going to dedicate to a running back position, and then again, Joe mentioned all these screens that now we're seeing the team trying to throw in at the end of the season and what we hope they're going to do. You give a guy like Josh Allen, a guy in the backfield like Cordero Patterson, who can also do screens or go out. He can just go out wide. So really you can have the same guys on the field without the defense being able to really understand what you're going to do. Now, my dream is to get IMAC back as well, McKenzie. But however you look at it, you put Josh Allen with Cordero Patterson in the backfield, and that's nightmares for any linebacker. That's nightmares for any safety that's trying to come up for run support. That's nightmare. You don't nobody want to tackle those two.
Any defensive end trying to decide who's going to get the football.
Give me.
100%. I absolutely agree. Cordell Patterson would be absolutely disgusting in this offense. And then if you also were able to retain Isaiah McKenzie, oh my God. See, that's how I feel about Joe Brady. Obviously was the offensive coordinator that led LSU to that national championship. Now, my thing here is you have Joe Burrow, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Justin Jefferson, there was one, Jamar Chase, yep, on the same offense, and all those guys go on to be top 50 and 4 out of the 5 top 20 NFL players in their first 2 seasons. Is that all, like, is you just have an abundance of talent, or did you really just, bring the best out of those guys? But then I think about it and I'm like, well, Bills have an abundance of talent. We have the most talented human being that has ever played quarterback in this league, right? So
I love it.
I'm like, okay, you know what? I talked myself back into it, and I'm happy with it. All right, guys. So the Super Bowl is coming up, right? We got the Bengals versus the Rams. Now, those Bengals were able to do something that the Bills were not. The Bills have won 10 plus games, 13 games even. The Bills have won home playoff games. The Bills have went to AFC championship games. The one thing they have not been able to do is get past Patrick Mahomes and those Kansas City Chiefs. Even when Josh basically won the game twice and handed it to the defense on a silver platter, the Buffalo Bills were not able to get the job done, right? The Kansas City Chiefs did it in their first attempt. So my question to you, gentlemen, and I'm going to start with Jake. Who's the biggest, because the Kansas City Chiefs their dynasty is no longer in play, right? They only won one. The clock is reset, right? So who's the biggest dynasty threat? Bills, Bengals, Chiefs. Jake.
Okay, so obviously we all like to stomp on the Chiefs and be like, their dynasty's dead. They can't. I still think that they're a team that is going to be in it every single year, and you're going to have to talk about them. Sure. It's not like, oh, their dynasty's dead, whatever. Like it's down to 2. I think that the Bills are one of those teams where you look at it and they just haven't hit that hole yet. Where if they did get through that hole and got to 1, I think they have the potential probably more than the Bengals just based off of what we see and with the coaching staff from top down and everything in the organization, that I think they have more potential that when they finally get past that last barrier to be able to explode and every single year be like the person that everybody's looking up to. Kind of like how the Chiefs have been, even though they haven't really won the big one every single year. So I think that the Bills, and this isn't just me being a homer, but it's just kind of thinking organizationally and with the team wise, like both of these guys got special guys back there, and they can build teams around them. They've got special players and everything, but I'm not quite sure if anybody's going to be as like explosive as the Bills could be once they finally get past that hump. But to say they have to get past that hump first. So, this is kind of a question where you can't go wrong either way because all these teams are super talented and every single year they could be jumping over each other. But the Bengals have a chance to start it, obviously, this weekend. But, just in my opinion, obviously, it's my opinion. I think that the Bills, once they get into that position, I think have a better chance to be a dynasty, which is a hard thing to do, man. Like it's a hard thing to win and then continuously win that thing every single year. So, but I think that the Bills probably just organizationally all the way down to all the players and personnel have the better chance to be a dynasty.
So you think it's just the makeup of the entire Bills organization from owner down to the lowest scout and water boy, right? Okay, so okay. All right. J Spence, what's going
on? I think for me, I have to be fair with it, and I'm going to say the Chiefs. I'm not sold on the and I get it. It's gonna sound like I'm a hater because they're in the Super Bowl, right? But there's a big part of me that when I watch the Bengals and I go back and I watch the film of the games that they've played in the playoffs, it just doesn't feel real. Like it doesn't feel like they were the better team any of those games. Like it just didn't feel like they were dominating. So I just don't know if this is sustainable, and which is the reason why, if you're into betting and all that stuff, this is the reason why the Rams are favored, because it's just certain things that you watch that like, okay, can they keep winning this way? And Joe Burrow is the man. So don't get me wrong, Joe Burrow is the man, but they have to get an offensive line for him, and just some other things that has to happen in order for Kansas City to, in order for Cincinnati to really push forward here. As far as the Bills, I'm going with Jake. You have to beat the Kansas City Chiefs before we can have that discussion. And the Kansas City Chiefs, I know obviously they're not in the Super Bowl this year, but they've made it to the AFC Championship game now, 4 years in a row. They made it to a couple Super Bowls in a row. They won one. So, and if you're going to talk about dynasties right now, they're probably one of the most winningest franchises over the last 5 years. So I can't be disrespectful to that as much as I would like to be. And I get my jokes off and I go hard at them, but I gotta go with the Chiefs here.
Now, before we get to Joe Miller, I get that. That makes sense, absolutely. But the last 2 years, we have seen the Kansas City Chiefs offense choke in the biggest moment, the biggest game of the year, respectively, right? Whether it be the Super Bowl, their offensive line just totally got outmatched. It was bad, like to watch. Patrick Mahomes, to be fair, I do think Josh is better, but I'll give flowers where they're due. He was making some crazy accurate passes that seemed impossible in that Super Bowl. It was absolutely nuts to witness. But they, again, whether he played well, Josh had the best postseason, second best postseason in NFL history, but he didn't win. So it doesn't matter how well you play if you guys don't win the game, right? And then obviously this last week, where Patrick Mahomes did not look great in the second half of that game, and neither did the Kansas City Chiefs offense just as a whole. Does that, if you're a Chiefs fan, on a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you that your offense is just?
Is this still on me or is this a Joe?
J Spence.
Yeah, if I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan, I'm a little nervous, like actually very nervous. The reason being is I know a lot of times on Twitter we always talk like, well, the cap is really just a myth. It's a myth. I promise you, it's catching up. Like I promise you, it's catching up. Just like it's
look at
catching
his
up for the
hands.
Bills. So when you're looking at this contract they gave Patrick Mahomes, and you're going to look at the talent that they can't re-sign, they can't keep guys because they paid him and Jones, and they're paying all of these guys on both sides of the ball. At some point, you're not going to be able to extend Tariq Hill. You're not going to be able to extend. So when you're going to miss out, then you're going to depend on drafting. Now, can Andy Reid draft? We've seen him draft pretty well throughout his career, but is it going to be Tyreek Hill for his first season? Is it going to be Travis Kelce for his first season? And then that sugar high Josh that we used to talk about, that everybody else used to say put on Josh. I've been making sure I put that on Patrick Mahomes. When you're making those same horrible decisions in the fourth quarter or overtime, sugar high. So if this is the quarterback that I'm getting now, and I don't, he's not being blanketed or protected by 2 all-pro receivers and an all-pro tight end and an all-pro left tackle and an all-pro. If he's not being protected by that, because now you can't afford them, is this the guy we're going to get for the rest of his career? And if so, now you're living with the Brett Favre thing. Like, okay, either he's going to throw the game away with an interception, or he's going to win it on a crazy throw. So, it's the gift and the curse. If I'm a Bills fan, I feel more confident, like Joe was saying earlier, that Josh is reaching a new level to where he's understanding the game and he's not going to give the game away. I'm a little worried if I'm Patrick Mahomes fans.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. And another thing is, Josh Allen is the only quarterback. Well, yeah, no, I stand on that. Out of this new batch of quarterbacks, where it's like, the Herberts, the Burrows, the Lamar Jacksons, the Pat Mahomes, and the Josh Allen, right? And they say this is the new generation of quarterbacks. Joe Burrow to a lesser degree. Josh Allen's the only one that had to get it out the mud. Everybody came in with mad weapons, mad ways to display their talent. I tell people all the time, Josh Allen was 5-5 his rookie season in games that he started and finished. So I got to believe that if Josh Allen is healthy that whole season, there's an opportunity. I'm not saying we would have made the playoffs. There's an opportunity for that season to have looked a lot better than it was. We were 6-10 that year.
You think more of that offensive line and that wide receiver core than Spence and I do.
That offensive line was hot garbage, and Josh got 5 dubs out of it.
Yeah, not of the 9 guys, only 2 of them were in the NFL the league after.
Yeah,
so
it was absolutely
the year after, in the league the year after, my bad.
And you would see Josh just running for 90, 98, 99, 103 yards if he had to, and he was getting dubs. So Josh
was a flawed quarterback in 2018.
He was, absolutely. I'm not saying
he didn't trust his offensive line. He didn't trust his wide receivers. He hit his back. He didn't even hit his back foot sometimes. And he
Did he have anybody that was worth trusting? Joe?
No,
anybody that was worth trusting.
But it also spoke to who he was as a quarterback. As a quarterback, he wasn't prepared to go to the Chiefs and be there with Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill and these guys that they had. He wasn't.
Pat Mahomes.
That isn't necessarily where he was. So if I'm going to answer this,
learn behind Alex Smith.
Yeah, if I'm going to answer this question, you're missing a quarterback, and you said it. Justin Herbert needs to be in this mix. If we're talking about, because I'll be honest with you, I was a little disappointed. I haven't watched a lot of Joe Burrow games. I was told that Joe Burrow had the arm talent of Josh Allen and Justin Herbert, and obviously Patrick Mahomes, and he doesn't. His arm is nowhere even close to Herbert and Allen, and then Mahomes, obviously, the things that Mahomes does. For me, this question of a dynasty threat is weird because, and I don't know that I'm going to have a popular take with everybody, because I don't know that the Bills, the problem with the Buffalo Bills is they enter these football games against the Chiefs, to Spence's point, the team that we're supposed to beat or that we need to beat, and they play scared. The Bengals had nothing to lose. They were playing with house money. Second-year quarterback, didn't finish the season last year. We're not supposed to be here. 26th ranked pass defense in the NFL. You know what? We're going to throw caution to the wind, and we're going to do whatever. The Bills should have gone into that football game that I got to go to and just allowed the offense to just do whatever they needed to do and allowed the defense to do whatever they needed to do, and they didn't. They overthought it. They put Levi Wallace one-on-one with Tyreek Hill, dropped the safeties back 30, 35 yards. It was a joke. So for me, it's Hey Kool-Aid all day long. It's literally Andy Reid. Hey Kool-Aid is the best. Zach Taylor, you want to talk about a head coach? His first season, Zach Taylor looked lost as the head coach of the Bengals last year. And this year he did a much better job, to the point of saying, like I said, you know what? We got nothing to lose. I need to see a little bit of we got nothing to lose from Sean McDermott against the Chiefs. we got nothing to do but put our chips all in the middle of the table versus this whole whatever it is they're trying to do in the playoffs 2 years in a row. Right now, it's the Chiefs. It could be the Bills, but I need to see a getting over the hump. I need to see Sean McDermott define himself a new ceiling the way that Josh Allen has before I'm ready to crown the Buffalo Bills. Do I think it's the Bengals? Probably not. It's going to be the Chiefs. The problem is with this whole conversation is Joe Burrow is going to sting you. Justin Herbert is going to sting you. Patrick Mahomes is going to sting you. All of these guys are going to be able to knock you out of the playoffs at any given moment. It's going to be fun for the next 10 years. And by that, I mean it's going to be frustrating.
Especially now that we're one of the teams with a good quarterback. Now we got to have 5 generational talents all in the same conference. That's got to be annoying. But I mean, the Bengals are going to the Super Bowl. They're going to play the Los Angeles Rams in that Super Bowl in Los Angeles. The Rams have maybe like 6 or 7 Hall of Famers on their roster at this very moment, and it's just the Bengals had 2 wins last year. So this game, it really should go one way, but the Bengals really were touted. They were expected to lose really almost every game so far in this playoffs, and they won it. So, Jake, what do you think the Bengals are going to do in the Super Bowl?
Okay, so I thought that it was actually a really good point that Joe brought up is that, they were playing with house money. And this game almost feels like that again. They're in this game and everybody's just picking the Rams to win. They're like, the Rams, they're going to blow them out. The Bengals shouldn't be here. But I'm not here for it. I'm a huge proponent for any given Sunday. You never know what's going to happen. And I know it's a cliche, but I do expect, of course, I want the Rams to win. I think that the Rams should win. The Rams built this team to win this game. This is they need to win this game. And something inside of me is, just tugging at the back of my head saying, hey, don't go full on Rams. Don't say that, because something is telling me that the Bengals have something in there. But, then the part of me that looks at, okay, matchups and stuff like that, I go, the Bengals haven't seen this kind of defensive line. They haven't seen it with guys on there that I believe Floyd has like 9.5 sacks. Von Miller, of course, he was Super Bowl 50 MVP. Dude has been on this type of stage before, and he has skins on the wall. So this guy obviously has played in this game before. And then you got Aaron Donald, who everybody already wants to crown as the best defensive player in the history of the NFL. I don't think
he
that
is.
I
agree.
That's the thing. I feel like you don't crown those people until they finish their career, but I could see how he's definitely definitely that guy. So I think that when it comes to this game, that this Bengals offensive line has held up just enough to get them there, but I do not think that they have seen a force like this. But again, I can't full out say that the Bengals can't do it, but I think that this Rams defense should be able to keep control of this Bengals offense a little bit more than some of the other ones that they have faced this postseason. And I think that the Rams should get this dub. And I really want Matt Stafford to get one, because I think this is the game that he truly needs to cement himself as a guy that, maybe deserves to go to Canton. So
I'm not in on that one.
You're not in on that one?
I'm not in on Matt Stafford going Canton. No.
After next season, he'll be top 10 in passing yards and touchdowns. So.
Listen, Jerome Bettis is in. We had a whole lot of mediocrity in the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame, but to me, the Hall pretty good. So I'm not in on the Matt Stafford one. But if you guys are there, that's good. But I'm not there.
It's rough. It's rough because Matt Stafford, he put up the numbers, and you saw the things from him that makes you understand that he's a good quarterback. It's the same thing. The Lions, and I'm not gonna go because I love them, and they're like our sister town and all that stuff. But the thing is, it's the same thing that happened with Barry Sanders. Like, Barry is a Hall of Famer, and he should be, and
Calvin Johnson is a Hall of Famer.
Like Calvin Johnson, because those guys really are like that. And I think Matt Stafford is really like that. But when you're just part of an organization that you just stinks. It makes it really rough to really look at him with true non-biased eyes and say, yeah, I think he's a Hall of Famer. Because you feel bad. You almost want him to be a Hall of Famer to win at something, because that team sucks so bad. But I'm going to answer the question though. I'm going Rams. I'm shouting my man out. OBJ is on my wall here. It's only he's the only one in a football uniform that doesn't have on Buffalo Bills colors right there. So I'm going with my man this weekend, man. He got to get one. He got to get one.
You think you want the Rams to win specifically just because of OBJ, or is there any?
Well, no, I think they're. I mean, I think they're the better team, top to bottom. Like you mentioned, I think Jake just said they were built for this game. Like they put the whole roster together for this weekend. So when you're going into it with that mindset, and they're adding pieces, and you're getting. I mean, they're getting play from guys right now that it's incredible to see what they're doing, and Matt Stafford, like we already talked about, I think he's big time. I think he played on a team that just didn't support him properly. There were years, when I tell you years, I prayed that the Buffalo Bills would try to make a trade for Matt Stafford. If we would have had Matt Stafford as opposed to the E.J. Manuels, or as opposed to the name the last 5 quarterbacks before Josh. You give me Matt Stafford with Stevie Johnson and you give me Matt Stafford with talented wide receivers. You give me Matt Stafford with freaking Sammy Watkins that first year. I love Tyrod. Shout out to my man Tyrod. But year one, Sammy was different.
It doesn't hold up. I agree with you if he's going to be better than every quarterback we've had, but he had Calvin Johnson. He had Megatron. He had the best wide receiver who potentially ever.
He still was damn good with Marvin Jones.
Go look
Jr.
at his stats every single year. Look at his stats after Megatron left. He put up the stats. The defense and special teams on that team was horrible. The coaching has been horrible.
But that's not Matt Stafford. It'd have been horrible here too. I don't know that he puts us over the hump as far as that goes. I mean, it's just. I agree with Ryan Thomas said that if he wins 2 Super Bowls with the Rams, you were probably having a different conversation about him. That window's going to close fast. The Rams are going to be the first bought Super Bowl ever in the NFL. The Redskins have tried it. The Eagles have tried it. So many teams have tried to buy a Super Bowl and it's not worked. If it works this year for the Rams, it'll be the first time ever, and that window's going to close in a hurry. So it'll be.
So you think the Rams are going to win it then?
Yeah, for me, I've got my money would be on the Rams. Not to mention, I don't want to hear Kay Adams talk about Joe Burrow being a better quarterback than Josh Allen all off season. So because he won the Super Bowl, so.
Yeah,
that's the silly take. If we hear those, I mean, winning the game as a team does not mean that because Joe Burrow is not a better quarterback. It's just can he develop to be a whole lot better? He's good. He's very good. Like he's one of my favorite players outside of Buffalo. He's not Josh Allen. Come on. Yeah, there's probably only 3 people right now I'm gonna really put in the same breath as Josh. And it's not him.
Okay. Thought you were gonna say better. I was gonna.
No. I'm going Patrick Mahomes there, Aaron Rodgers, and Herbert. I think Herbert is really like that. Like, and if people ain't watching him enough to tell that he's like that, I suggest y'all go watch some Chargers games. That dude is like that.
Yeah, he can make some throws. Yeah. I don't see the whole thing with Josh is people say, he's not as consistent as Patrick Mahomes. So I mean, if I had Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, I'd be consistent. Then McCole Hartman and Travis Etienne and Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid calling my plays, but I digress. Okay. Herbert is not Joe Herbert. Herbert is not as consistent as Josh and Pat are. I think Josh is more consistent, so I think I kind of need to see that from him because he'd be making some throws. I'm like, what was, you know what I mean? So like, but obviously,
so does Mahomes.
He's a
Mahomes does the
for
same
sure. Thing. But so he does, and I mean Josh does sometimes. Every blue moon now. Thank God, it's not as much as it was earlier. In his career.
And I hate when people do this, but unfortunately, I got to do this on your show. Like, if you're looking at Herbert, he's now this was his 2nd year, right? Like, Josh, there was a natural progression. I'm not saying everybody's going to take the same type of jump like Josh took.
2 years, 2 different offensive coordinators as well.
That's right. So I mean, you got different things happening around him, and he came out as a rookie, and he put the league on. Like, I remember when Buffalo played him, it was like, crap, like this dude is good. Like he's legit. Yeah. And so I mean, dude, that those reps matter. And now that he's playing the game, it's slowing down for him. Honestly, man, I wouldn't be shocked if he wins the Super Bowl by his 5th year. I really would.
For sure. I absolutely 100% agree with everything you said. He has absolutely a possibility to win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that he's not like that. He is absolutely that guy. But when I hear people say that he is better than Josh Allen, then I got
Oh no.
Oh yeah, no.
you know. So that's all I'm saying. Is you gotta, you know what I mean? Take a step back a little bit. You know, so
take a step back a lot. Take a step back a lot.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's where I'm coming from with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Not yet.
So
not yet.
I have a new segment on my show where obviously everybody knows that this man named Vince Taylor is my main man. He is no longer in the podcast community anymore. He is off getting his education. I love Vince so much. This is my man. What does Vince think? Okay. So now, again, Vince doesn't have a podcast anymore. So I like to still get his opinion because I value his opinion. And he says, I asked him who will win the Super Bowl. He said, I honestly don't have a strong rooting interest here. I would like to see Burrow get one. He is easy enough guy to like, and I do not care at all for all the noise that comes with the Josh Allen comparisons. But I really would be happy for Stafford. But who will win it? I think the Rams are a better overall team. I think this is Stafford's best shot. They can play really well on both sides of the ball. Aaron Donald is going to give Cincy O-line fits. It's a bigger game. It's a big game for Burrow. I just don't feel like the odds are in his favor. The team around him just not as complete. Cincy is a great team, but I hopefully think the Bills or Chiefs would have made the Super Bowl a closer game. Rams by 2 scores, let's say 35-21, and I might be a little nice to Cincy. So I gave a nice little detailed answer there. Thank you, Vince. Appreciate you, bro. So we're going to go ahead and get back into some Bills talk, right? Because we got a brand new offensive staff. I kind of need to know, look, you know, I like drama. When they ain't got nothing to do with me, I'll be sitting back eating my popcorn, right? So I need y'all to give me 3 players you absolutely do not want to see back next year.
Ooh, that's hard.
Let's start with Joe Miller because he said it's hard.
Ask it again.
3 players not coming back.
3 players you do not want to see back next
Vernon Butler.
year. That's an easy one.
I was about to say, all right, 1.
Some low hanging fruit right there.
Yeah.
Vernon Butler. Let me think. I probably don't. Man, that's tough. Just off the cuff, right? Vernon Butler. So, man, how do you do this, right? So Vernon Butler. I'm gonna say it's not because I don't like him. I probably don't need to see Emmanuel Sanders back. I like what we've got budding in Gabriel Davis. And I think that's probably cherry picking as well, just because I'm pretty confident that Emmanuel is going to retire. And Matthew Hawk would probably be my 3rd one. So,
bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Nice.
He's at the top of my list. The top of my damn list. Bye.
No, Vernon Butler's the top of everybody's list.
Yeah.
No. Special teams matter to me. I'm getting rid of that. Get him gone. But if I'm gonna get yelled at. I'm gonna get yelled at. Jerry Hughes.
Oh, he just turned into Bruce exclusive.
He turned into Bruce.
I had to dip out because I was scared I was gonna get beat down. Jerry Hughes, it's time. He's a legend in Buffalo, and he's some. Joe and I talked about this on Hump Day Hotline last week. He's somebody who I respect, and I would love him to retire as a Bill. But if we're actually talking about winning championships at this point, at some moment you have to like put your heart aside and your love aside and be like, all right, what's the best 53? And I feel like we drafted 2 rookies who could do the damn thing on the defensive line, and they didn't play a lot of the season because Jerry gets all the snaps and because, like I get the rotational thing. I get keeping guys fresh, but at the same time, we got 2 young guys with high motors, with strength and length. You got to put those guys out there and let it happen. And unfortunately, along with Vernon, I think Jerry got to go, and I'm gonna go with Matt Hack. I'm not gonna call him Hawk. I'm gonna call him Hack because that's what the hell he does to the damn football.
Real quick, J Spence. My girl Dawn Keith is in the comment section. Dawn, love you, always support.
I love Dawn.
She says Hughes needs to retire. Mario can stay, but I'm not fighting for him like I did last year. Are you team Mario Addison? Led our team in sacks, needs to come back.
I'm indifferent. If he comes back, no, and it sounds bad to say it that way, but it's like So first, let me start off by saying this, because I know sometimes the players do watch and listen to these. So let me, and I, not to be politically correct, but to be honest, there's not a guy on the roster I don't like. I like everybody on the roster. I want a Super Bowl. Like, so it's past me liking anybody. I would absolutely love to replace anybody necessary to win a Super Bowl except for Josh Allen. I need him to be the guy to win.
That's good.
Okay, Joe Miller. Look, man, I saw your face when he said he's a different, and I have a feeling that your answer is going to be vastly different. So let's give it to me.
What answer about what? Because I gave you my three already.
Mario
Breed is
Addison.
gone. Breed is gone. Ismail. So nice try, but you got to come up with a third because Breed is no longer on this roster.
Out of here anyway.
You gotta come up with it. But love you, Izzy. Thank you for the super chat.
My problem is the entire concept of the defensive line. So, and I know that you've got a segment I think coming up where you're going to say what is it? What's the one thing that the Bills have to do to get us over the hump? So if this is the segue into that segment, then that works. For me, I'm done. I'm over the rotational thing. I don't need to see 48% of snaps for 9 guys. It's not working. They're fresh. That's great. TJ Watt, Hendrickson, these guys are Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa. These guys, Aaron Donald, they're playing 85 to 90% of the snaps. They're about to throw up on the field, and they're still getting to the quarterback. Find me a havoc wreaker. Give me the 6 best guys and give me a dude that's going to get after the quarterback every single down. I don't need 48% and keeping guys rested because it's not working. 2 years of it, I'm done with it. So if that includes Mario Edison being gone, he can go.
All right, now, Joe. Now, I was on Twitter.
A little passion. I might be overreacting.
No, I like it. I love it. No. This is exactly what I want
on brand.
Because I was on Twitter, and I agree with you 100%. We need somebody who go out there and just cause problems every play.
Right.
He's just a demon.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And I said, if we had one of those guys this year, we look at Leslie Frazier a little bit different. So I have to ask you, do you have more confidence in Leslie Frazier if you have that havoc group?
So Leslie Frazier to me is steady. Is the word that I would use. And steady is not bad. Steady is good. Steady is very good. And I don't mean his persona. I don't mean his character. I don't mean his personality. I don't mean the way he treats his players. Steady meaning he doesn't get too high. He doesn't get too low. He doesn't get unnerved. He doesn't get too excited. It's great most of the time, 90% of the time. But in the one game where you've got to have something different is when that steady doesn't work. For me, the only reason that I would have wanted to see somebody different than Leslie Frazier is because situationally, I need aggression once in a while. I need aggression out of the defense. And Spence has heard me say this ad nauseum. When Jonathan Taylor is eating you up for over 200 yards and you're in the Monday presser saying, we never once considered breaking out of our 4-2 nickel. That to me is a fireable offense right there. You never even considered putting another linebacker or another defensive tackle on the field. Didn't even, because what's funny is we have more confidence in our base package to do the job. And meanwhile, what happened 2-3 games later? They started putting heavy packages in. AJ Klein, they started going with a 4-3 with AJ Klein if they were up against a strong running back. So it's not completely true. For me, I like Leslie Frazier a lot. I just need to see more situational aggressiveness out of him when it's warranted. And that could be McDermott. He could be the problem. He may be the one saying we don't want them to beat us over the top. So drop the safeties back 35 yards, put them in single coverage, man-on-man coverage, and let's hope to God they don't beat us. Meanwhile, Tyreek Hill breaks Levi Wallace's ankles, catches the ball 20 yards downfield, and takes it 70 yards. Like, maybe you just do what the Bengals did and cover those guys. Maybe you do what the Buccaneers did in the Super Bowl and cover those guys. Just cover the guys, right? That's sorry. You got me all fired up.
I mean, that's where I was at, Joe. No, but that's where I was at though. Right after the game, I immediately wanted to put the blame on Coach McDermott, and not like I saw everybody talking about how it was Leslie Frazier's fault for the package that we're in and all of this and all of that stuff. And like I even see it in the comments now, Frazier is fireable. The thing for me is, at first, regardless of how you want to look at it, we had one of the top defenses in the league. If you don't want to believe in the number one overall defense, fine. But we had one of the top defenses in the league. You don't fire somebody because we lose the last game.
Agreed.
The problem for me, the problem that I have with the way the defense played is the same problem that I had at times when the offense didn't play up to par. I think when you're the head coach, yes, you delegate to your coordinators. And yes, nope, this is Frazier's defense.
Yep.
This is Dabo's offense. And they're the guys out there making the calls. But when the game is on the line, when your season is on the line, to me, it's the coaches at that point. All right, look, we got 13 seconds. What's the game plan? Right. And if I look at the game plan and it ain't what the game plan should be, I'm gonna say, hell no, we're gonna scrap that. This is the game plan. Exactly. I can't put that on Leslie Frazier. Now, if Leslie, again, I don't know what's happening. Like Joe mentioned earlier, we're not in the room, we're not in the building. But to me, that's on coach. And I love McDermott. Everybody knows every week after the game, I do my post, Coach McDiddy this and McDiddy that, and I love McDiddy. Y'all know how I do. But I put that on coach. That's not on Leslie Frazier. That's not on Daboll. That is 100% on the guy who is the manager of the football team. Your job is to manage the team. And if at 13 seconds, it comes down to 13 seconds comes down to what? And you're going to leave that in somebody else's hands? No, man. We need a chip. We need a Lombardi trophy in Buffalo. And you leaving it in the hands of other people is not the way to get there.
I don't even need to blame it on the 13 seconds. Make a stop. Just make a stop.
Yeah.
Make a stop. We win that football game. Make a stop in overtime. We win the football game. Make a stop.
Before overtime.
Right.
Like Josh won that game twice before 13 seconds.
Make a stop.
He won that game twice. Like when Josh went to the sideline and was yelling and doing all of that, and he threw like, dude, the game should be. I lost my entire shit. I ran through my house. I ran down the street. The game was over, and I know Joe was in. Like you were there.
I was there. Yep.
Man. They say a team takes over the personality of the head coach, and I truly think that is the situation with the Buffalo Bills. Now, I do recognize Sean McDermott is in his 5th year. I say it all the time. 5 years ago, I would never, ever, and I had never in my life even witnessed the playoff game for my favorite team, right? So I can't be mad at the value he's given us. He has given us tremendous value. He's flipped around an organization, literally. He has done probably the hardest job in the NFL, maybe NFL history. Like 17 years is nuts for a team to just be completely mediocre to bad, right? You come in playoffs first season, develop a quarterback second season, then now you're a superpower the last 2. So I want to give him his props, but I do think that passiveness that Joe was talking about comes from Sean McDermott, because that is his personality. He is the guy that doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, stays even kill, which I do respect and I like it. But I have a question for you, Jake. Now, Joe talks about how we probably weren't necessarily an overall defense. I think a lot of people have the opinion that the offenses we played or lack thereof inflated our numbers a little bit, right? Do you think that Leslie Frazier got the most out of what was given to him, or do you think that another defensive coordinator could come in and maybe help these guys play more to their potential?
I think these guys play like. Are you asking me against the talent that they played against?
Because no. In terms of the talent that Leslie Frazier has on the football field any given Sunday, do you think there's another defensive coordinator that could probably come in and just, bring that talent, or the potential out more than Leslie Frazier has done this season?
I don't know, because I feel like a lot of defensive coordinators, when they would have had to step into the position once Trey White was out, probably wouldn't have been able to have the same success and game plan the way that they have been able to use the scheme and get the success out of guys that, there is a section coming up where you ask guys that maybe we want to bring in, guys that are like 4 or 6 guys that, probably would burn out on other teams. So I think that when you've got Leslie Frazier, he does get the most out of some of these players, but I don't know, because you just want to be like, oh, well, the pass rush wasn't there. I don't even think that's necessarily what was going on. I feel like that the pass rush was getting back there. They just weren't finishing. Yeah. And I can't put that on Leslie Frazier to, hey, tackle the guy. Like, it's Leslie Frazier's not out there lining up trying to tackle the quarterback. So, like,
hey, Jake, what was the conversation last year in the AFC Championship game from the defense?
It was that we couldn't get back there.
What was the conversation most of 2020 for the defense, the defensive line?
That they couldn't get back there.
We got pressures. We couldn't take the quarterback down. What happened in 2021?
We could not get back there.
So at some point in time, the coach has to do something different.
Well, but to me, by different,
or it's the design,
me,
it's the design.
Yeah,
I feel like it's the players. I feel like it's the players. We don't have so like as much as I love Jerry Hughes, which is one of the reasons why I'm saying like, okay, he can retire. Like the thing is, look, getting pressures is not the same thing as actually disrupting the play. So they're like last season and this season, we were leaders in the league at quarterback pressures and get into the quarterback and doing all this stuff, but we didn't get to the quarterback. So the thing is, you can design the play. You put that same design, the same plays that we have, and we're getting close to the quarterback. I agree with you 100%. Like it's been the same conversation. We can't tackle Patrick Mahomes. We can't sack him. Like we can't just take him down. At some point, we need younger guys with higher motor. And maybe it's not just younger. We need guys with higher motors, faster, that can get around the edge, that can do what we're doing right now. And the guys that we have that primarily take up those snaps is just not cutting it. It's just not cutting it.
It's not just.
I wasn't setting you up, Joe. I promise.
It's not just the defensive line either. How many times do they come on a blitz and the blitz doesn't get home?
They blitz bad quarterbacks. They do that. They don't blitz the good quarterbacks, though.
Right.
They have safety blitzes, packages, and stuff. And you know what, Joe? The point you make about Leslie Frazier is the exact point I make about Brian Daboll, right? He just have lapses of judgment at random times. I'm just like, what the hell are you like?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like fans could call a better game than this. You know what I mean? So I get where you're coming from with that. I really do. So you're
up by 2 points or 4 points. It's the middle of the third quarter or something. It's second down and I don't know, 9 or 11, and Josh drops back and tries to throw the ball 65 yards downfield. Brian Daboll. It's like, why? Why that play call now? Just go down the field and score a touchdown and make it a 2-possession game. Why are you throwing it deep?
Or 3 straight runs when your quarterback is having the best postseason in NFL history. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah. J Spence,
running at 2nd and 12. You're running the ball with Devin Singletary.
Go ahead.
Can I pose a question though? Is that if we have another defensive coordinator, and I do want to, actually get this out of you guys. If we have another defensive coordinator with the personnel that we have, do you think we get to the court?
Oh, no. Jake froze.
I know where he was going.
But yeah, he was going to ask.
Freeze?
So I freeze and you're still frozen.
I think so. Do they get to the quarterback? I think that's possible. I think because I think the Leslie Frazier, as much as they're like, this is the Sean McDermott defense that Leslie Frazier's running, I think they're akin. I think they're very much similar in their mindsets as far as that goes. But this is a Tampa 2, nickel 4-2, bend but don't break to the extreme. It is a bend but do not break defense. It gets to the point watching the Buffalo Bills on defense where it's not when somebody put Jim Schwartz is available. When Jim Schwartz was like coaching this defense, we were excited to watch the defense get on the field.
More excited than the offense. I remember that.
The defense is about to come on the field. Yep. This one, it's like they're going to rip off 10 yards here. They're going to rip off 8 yards there. They're going to rip off 4 yards. They're going to pass the ball for 18 yards. They're going to get to the 20, and the Bills are going to stop them. The Bills are going to get to the 20.
It was like that as well with Leslie Frazier. It was. I'm excited to see the defense more excited than I'm seeing the offense.
But even if not, to also be fair, when Jim Schwartz was our defensive coordinator, we had Mario Williams, we had Marcel Darius and Cal. Like it was a completely different. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. The guys we have now, we don't have a Mario Williams on the edge.
Scheme is big. Scheme is big. So the question is can they find a guy who it's a John Fina thing. I brought this up with J Spence. So much of what, just like you guys overlap, so much of what J Spence and I do overlaps, right? John Fina talks about these guys, the way that they're being coached right now on the defensive line. There's no moves. There's no multiple moves. They're not setting up offensive linemen. They basically come out of their stance, they wiggle their shoulders, and then they bull rush. Every single, that's John Fina's biggest criticism of the defensive line. And it's not just like one of them. It's all of them except for Jerry Hughes, who's long in the tooth. He's actually obviously been in the league for a long time. So he'll cut under, he'll do some swims, do some different stuff, some curls. But for the most part, these young guys, Epinesa, Boogie Basham, Greg Rousseau, all they're doing is they're doing this little shimmy and a bull rush. They're not setting up any guys. They're not using one play to set up the next one. It's something else. I think that a different defensive coordinator could potentially change that. I'm not saying it's true. I just think that it could be possible. Are you giving up something on the other side? Maybe they're not bend and break. Maybe they do like give up some big plays. but maybe they're more aggressive. Maybe they get home. I don't know.
See, the reason I'm comfortable with what Leslie Frazier brings to the table is because that defense is designed to minimize points at all costs, right?
Put up Don Keith's comment. Put up Don Keith's comment. Sorry, keep talking. Just put that up. There you go. Keep talking.
Yep. You can and it was also because of scheme that the Bengals were able to stop the Chiefs, so that's a very good point. However, I forgot what I was about to say.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I disagree. And I love Don. Everybody knows I love Don here, but I disagree that the Bills have underperformed. Like, we lost the last game of the season, but we statistically had the number. Now I get it. I know y'all like to say, well, they played quarterbacks that weren't. I tell you what, we played Patrick Mahomes twice, and the first time he didn't look as great.
But they didn't look as great the first half of the season.
They didn't look as great, but also our defense was a reason for that. Like you can't give them all the credit and take none for us. Like, our defense was out there with the turnovers. We played Tom Brady. He beat us up in the first half. The second half, guess what? They didn't score as many points. So what I'm saying is, like, look, sometimes you're going to go against these top quarterbacks who are amazing, and they just going to just like you couldn't expect our defense to go and hold Josh to 6 points. It's Josh freaking Allen. And sometimes you're going to play Aaron Rodgers. You're going to play Patrick Mahomes when they're just on and they're going to score 35 points because that's who they are. The thing is, you have to, and to get to all your points about the scheme, at some point you do have to get it to where, okay, we just need one more stop than the other team. It doesn't, like, because sometimes we overthink this football thing, and we want it to be Madden where we beat the team down and we only let them score 3 and we score 45 every single week. It's not realistic.
No, it's not.
These guys are good too. So the thing is, like, it really does sometimes come down to, we got to get the last stop, or we got to be the team that stops them one more time. And the unfortunate thing for us is that they got the ball and both offenses were cooking and they beat us because they scored and we couldn't stop them. If Josh got the ball, this podcast would not be happening because we'd be getting ready for Sunday, and somebody in Kansas City would be talking about, man, we just needed to beat 13 seconds. It would have been the opposite thing. The Buffalo Bills, like, I really, 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 I loathe this idea that the Buffalo Bills defense is not as good as their numbers show because we didn't play quarterbacks that were better. They didn't make the schedule. We didn't say, well, we don't want to play against the top quarterbacks in the league. Just we didn't do that. The same team that nobody says that, and I get it, it's the Patriots, but nobody talks about the Patriots' number 2 defense.
That's a fact.
Josh had their breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the playoffs. Josh destroyed them, and nobody is questioning whether or not Bill Belichick can put a good defense on the field. They had the second-ranked defense. We had the first. They played the same teams we did. Nobody is saying the Patriots ain't as good as the Bills defense because the same teams. We had the same schedule.
You're not.
So we really got to chill, man. Like, the Bills, we like that, man. Y'all ain't gonna disrespect my boys like that.
You're not wrong. However, if the Bills were playing this weekend, we would be having the conversation on this podcast right now because the Chiefs put 30-something points on us. The Bengals probably would have put 30-something points on us, and we're going to be asking, can we stop Matt Stafford, OBJ, Cooper Kupp, and like Darrell Henderson? Like,
that's fair.
Because the Bills' number 1 defense that was only allowing 17 points a game when they played good offenses, we're allowing a whole lot more.
See,
but wait, but when you say that, again, I just like the point comes down to sometimes you're just playing damn good quarterbacks. Sure. You look at, like, again, the Patriots had the second best defense in the league, and Josh Allen ate their breakfast, lunch, dinner, and he had a snack. He had a snack. My man made popcorn to take to bed on them boys.
But wasn't the second best defense in the league because they played the same schedule we played? Is that why?
No. See, and that's the thing. Like,
no, because their defense is always good, and they be like, Bill Belichick's a genius.
Right. It's like you can't. You're gonna. I just hate the way, like, because we do it to ourselves. Like, we always talk about how the national media disrespects us, and it's like we finally get something that's worth it, and it's like, yeah, but we play the best. No, man, we went out there and we mollywopped 15, 14 teams, and we held defense, like games that we should have won. The games that we should have won, we went out there and lost to the Jaguars, but they scored 9 points. They didn't go out there and beat us up. They didn't. The Jaguars didn't have 35 points on us. You know, so all these games, like, our defense, and we lost Trey. And guess what? Nothing changed.
Yeah.
Besides the last game, that was the only game that you could say it mattered. When we went against Tom Brady, we didn't have Trey then. And guess what? The second half, we shut Tom Brady down in the second half. The first half, he whooped our ass. I ain't gonna. But yo, we gotta come on, man. Y'all ain't gonna come down on my boys like we ain't got 2 all-pro safeties in the secondary. And like my man Levi Wallace ain't step up big time. Now, do I think that we should keep him? I don't think we can afford him. But y'all not about to come at my boys on the defense like they didn't do the damn thing all year.
I'm with you because thank you. You reminded me of what I was going to say. Like when I look at this defense, is designed to minimize points, right? It's bend, don't break, literally, and they're very damn good at it. It's you could have whatever damn near you want between the 20s, but you not getting this touchdown. You can have those 3 points because we have the most talented football player in the league on the other side of the field that's going to go down there. And that offense is specifically designed to score points at a fast rate. So I like that combination. Because if you come down, you kick a field goal, we get 7. You come down, you kick another field goal, we get 7. You know what I mean? I like our odds to, win that game. Now that was kind of my frustration with Dayball is sometimes he would be inconsistent with that. And I'm like, yo, every drive counts. You can't just be doing this dumb stuff randomly. You know what I mean? And so that was my problem. But again, I like the tandem. And again, as J Spence said, sometimes we're going to face a great quarterback. And we have a great quarterback. So, I'd rather have our defense that's not giving anything up. And then our great quarterback who is able to, make stuff happen on other defenses that are less able. So I was super confident with, and I still like, I still like the prospect of, Leslie Frazier coaching our defense next year. And I hope that we get a dominant pass rusher because, hey, I'm of the belief that if we get a guy that can beat your tackle, that can beat your guard one-on-one, you can't stop him. I think this defense looks a lot different. I'm not gonna lie to you that because I think that secondary. Exactly. 100% agree, Jake. That defensive line, that secondary smothers people. Like, I mean, there's quarterbacks sitting back there with 5-6 seconds to throw the ball, and then somebody comes open and they're like, oh, Levi Wallace, you let him get open. You know what I mean? Like, but he was covering for 5 seconds. Our defensive line just couldn't get no pressure, or they could get pressure. They couldn't get to the quarterback. So if I have a Jordan Davis running through people and the Ed Oliver coming right behind him, ain't nobody getting past, you know what I mean? So speaking of Jordan Davis, I have some actually before we get to that, we'll do that, then we'll do Jordan Davis, or I'm sorry, draft prospects, and get into final thoughts after that. Joe Miller brought this up earlier in the show. It wasn't a topic that I had, but we'll use it. He said was something that the Bills should do this offseason to get over the hump, right? And he kind of alluded to Josh Allen making more, safe passes.
Havoc Reeker. Havoc Reeker was my answer on the defensive line. Havoc
Reeker.
Oh,
no. Yeah. Right. You did say that. Okay. Yep. Jake Jordan, what do the Buffalo Bills need to do to get over the hump?
Well, I think they definitely need a Havoc Reeker on that defensive line. I think it's just what we have seen is there's no one guy on our line. Like maybe we're seeing Ed Oliver develop a little bit into a player that could have that kind of outlook. But I think that they need somebody else on the team that whenever the opposing offense comes on the field, they go, we got to watch that guy. We ain't got nobody on the team right now that does that. I'm sorry. Like Jerry Hughes, he's old and maybe he gets back there, but he doesn't pull the guys down. Mario Addison, maybe like 5.5 sacks. Look, these guys are doing like the best they can, and there's nothing against that, but we need somebody who's going to go out there and the team has to game plan for that guy. And we don't really have that. But just to deviate away from that, I think too that the Buffalo Bills could use a little bit more athleticism in the secondary. I think that's just something that, Levi Wallace, Dane Jackson, 4-6 guys. I mean, I feel like you see this all over Twitter. Everybody kind of talks about it. I think Levi Wallace is probably going to be a little bit too expensive. I think it's about time that guy finally gets paid. I think he finally stepped up into a position, overplayed probably what a lot of us thought he was going to do when he stepped up, and now he deserves to get that bag. And go do it. I'm always for that. Go get your bag, dude.
He came back last year for $1 million, though. You don't think he'll take another deal to come back?
Now, but he came back as CB2. Now he stepped up And now his market value is up, and there's other teams that are going to be calling now that unless he really wants to come back and be on another contender again and take another 1-year deal, I don't know. I think this is the time for Levi Wallace. He finally balled out, and it's time for him to go get his bag. But I think that, the Buffalo Bills need to get a guy back there that, when Trey White comes back, is just more athletic. You already talked about, you're like, well, Levi Wallace covered guys for 5 seconds. I was like, I don't know exactly about that, or saying that it's a smothering secondary, but I think that we need guys back there that can cover guys maybe just a little bit longer, just a couple of seconds longer, that can keep up with these guys. That if you do get someone on the defensive line, maybe it helps improve that. Like we said, the longer that a quarterback has to sit back there and wait to try to throw it to somebody, the more your defensive line can have opportunities to get after them. So I think that it's a combination. We could use a havoc record and a little bit more athleticism in the secondary to be able to truly maybe fix kind of the problem that we've had with the defense of getting back there and getting to some quarterbacks, man.
Jake, do you think that Groot will be our havoc record?
What's up? You kind of went out there for a second.
My bad. Do you think that Gregory Rousseau will be our havoc record?
Well, of course we want him to be. I think that, in time, if he's taught the pass rush moves, the dude has the ability to be able to get back there. But I just don't know. Again, you're asking me to say, is a guy like, if you asked me in the first year of Ed Oliver and then the second year when Starr wasn't there, did I think Ed Oliver was going to do what he did this year? I probably would have been, I don't know. So with Greg Rousseau, of course, we all want to sit there and we have that expectation that he could be that guy. And of course, I want to believe he can be that guy. And I think that, if they actually develop him, which, maybe they do, maybe they not. Of course, it's just a question that you can throw out there. I do think that Gregory Rousseau could be that guy. I think he's raw. I think he's got a lot to be able to mold. But I'm not going to, you can't say he is definitely going to be or not, because what he showed this year, he kind of, was overperforming what I thought. He basically forced his way into the rotation and then, hit the rookie wall. So of course, I think with development, he can get past that. And I think that he can be one of those guys. Is he going to be it next year? I don't know. But, you got to give these guys a couple of years before you truly know what they're going to be in this league.
Yeah, and he also didn't play at all last year, so I'm sure he had some.
I mean, he's one of the big reasons why we won that first Chiefs game.
Yep, that interception. Yep, absolutely 100%. J Spence, how do the Buffalo Bills get over the hill and win ourselves a Super Bowl?
Well, so for me, I'm not much of the draft guy. Like, I don't watch college, so I don't know about the prospects coming up, and I don't know. But if we can't and we don't retain Isaiah McKenzie, I really, really need us to get a speedy receiver with length. We need somebody that is fast, but can also help out in the red zone. And by fast, I mean fast. I don't mean,
Nicole Hardman.
I need somebody that's out there to do it. And from what I'm hearing, again, I'm not a scout type of guy. I don't watch a ton of college, but I'm hearing it's a good year again to get a wide receiver. That's something that I would like the Buffalo Bills to do. I know, I joke with Joe all the time. He's high on Isaiah Hodgins, and hopefully Isaiah Hodgins can come back this year healthy and show us what he has, and he can be a big part of this team, because his rookie year, he was making more waves than Gabriel Davis was. So, if he can come back and he can kind of do that in training camp again and then stick on the roster, fine. But if not, we need a beast. Like, I absolutely 1,000,000,000% think that we need a beast on this offense to go alongside with Steph and alongside with, Josh. Like, you need dogs for Josh. And the offense, we've seen what the offense can be when Josh is tapped in. And I think he's going to be permanently tapped in. You need guys that can tap in with him and just like be there. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the Buffalo Bills do as far as bringing in another weapon for Josh. Because, we already know, like Joe said, Sanders is gone. I know what Coach McDermott said in his presser. I got a feeling that we're going to try to save that $6.1 million with Cole Beasley too. I just got a feeling. We might be wrong, but I just got a feeling that we're not going to have the slot guy in Cole this year. So.
All right, Jason. All right. So do you think that – so my thing is, sometimes players – become superstars because they get more opportunity than they would have, right? If they're like a third or fourth or fifth round pick, you don't necessarily come into the league with that trust that they would have for a first or second round pick, right? They're not going to immediately try to see what you can do. But sometimes players make, things happen in big moments, and then they kind of jump into superstardom. What I'm asking you is, do you think that Gabriel Davis could be that next superstar Buffalo Bills offensive player?
Oh, I think it's already done. I don't think it's anything left to say, and not even just because of the playoff game. What do you have? 4 touchdowns or what? What do you have? Like something insane.
Who? Sorry, what?
Davis, Gabriel Davis
Gabe
in the
Davis.
playoffs.
It was 4, wasn't it?
4
Because
touchdowns,
he set a
200,
record. Yeah.
200 yards.
Right. So,
Yeah.
I mean, even without that performance, I would still be confident to say that Gabriel Davis is our number 2 wide receiver. So when I'm talking about bringing somebody up in the draft or even free, whatever, I'm just talking specifically somebody for speed and somebody who can make plays, somebody you can trust. I don't want to put anybody, like, to me, 1 and 2 is Diggs and Davis. That's 1 and 2, and there should not be any conversation aside from that, unless you got somebody who wants to come in here and play. Like, if you got, not that I'd never want this to happen, so please don't quote me on this, don't put me in no articles, nothing. if you got Tyreek Hill saying, you know what, I want to go play with Josh and I want to take a pay cut, I'm gonna play for $1 million in Buffalo, okay, then yeah, Davis could take the 3 spot. But you got to have a certain level of talent to say they want to come in here and take nothing to play. Unless that happens, Davis is number 2.
I completely agree with that, Brent.
Yeah, I do too.
And Jake is the ultimate Gabriel Davis fan. Obviously, they both have the same alma mater. So UCF. All right, so we got Stephon Diggs. You think Gabriel Davis also is a potential superstar budding? You want to get another star for Josh?
Not necessarily a star. I just need another weapon, because, like I said, I don't think we're going to be able to. I really don't think we're going to retain Isaiah McKenzie. I think he earned himself a contract somewhere. I think Sanders is gone. I think they might try to save some money with Beasley. So you're looking at 3 weapons this year that might not be here next year. You got to have somebody, and I just. I don't know if Jake Kumaro is the answer. I don't know if Isaiah Hodgins is the answer, or who else do we have on the practice squad? I feel like we have some guys.
Stevenson might be an answer.
Stevenson could fill a role. He has some speed to him, and so he could be the guy. I don't know, but like I said, I don't want us to neglect the wide receiver position because of what we saw this past year. It's going to look different moving forward. It's not the same thing that we've had.
Yeah, I like it. All right, guys. Did anybody have any questions or anything they wanted to say before we get into final thoughts? Jake, I know you got a question, bro.
Oh, what? Oh, okay. All right. So Isaiah McKenzie, we all think he's going to command more money, obviously more than what we paid him this year. What exactly are we basing that off of? Kind of the one game where he really, really goes off, or just because he lost the return position this year? We see the one game where he finally gets involved in the offense and they finally use him and he goes off, and he has that potential there. Do you think there's teams that just kind of see that small sample size and they go, yeah, that guy, we're gonna pay him a lot? Or do you think we're kind of overthinking how much he's really going to get out there? Or do you think he actually is going to command that?
So I would take you back in time to when there was a young player that the Miami Dolphins, I think, tendered wide receiver by the name of Wes Welker. Was it Welker?
Yes.
And the Patriots gave him a gigantic bag of money, and everybody was like, "What in the world are they doing?" And the Dolphins were like, "You can have him for that much money."
Yeah.
And then he became Wes Welker. If there's a team that wants Isaiah McKenzie, it's the Patriots. I promise you, they're going to offer him a decent contract.
I've also seen too. We've talked about Cole possibly being gone. I think that's another guy that the Patriots probably are like, yeah, we could use that guy too.
I think Cole could potentially get restructured. He might retire. I don't know that Cole's super happy with just the status of the NFL in its current situation.
I've been on that train. A lot of people are like, cut him. I was like, I could see that being one of those ones where it's like, hey, we restructure, take a little bit less money, stay on the team. We want to keep you here, and but a lot of people are just kind of on no, they see the cap figure now and what we could save, and they're like, oh, well, we just cut him. But I'm like, he's one of those guys that have kind of been instrumental in the development of Josh Allen, that I think that the organization would look at him and then be like, all right, look, let's try to get this to work. And if he's like, I don't want a restructure, which I don't know why he wouldn't be, as all accounts, the team loves him. He loves the team. Then, all right, sure, we'll save the money. But I'm along the lines of, I also think that we probably restructure him.
I think if Beasley's gone, I disagree with J Spence. I think that McKenzie becomes a priority for this.
Yeah, no. If Beasley's gone, McKenzie, that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, if McKenzie's gone, and then after that, if Beasley decides something different after that, it might leave us in a bad spot.
Yeah.
But just to answer Jake's question too, I don't think it's a limited size. Like I know you might look at it like a limited sample size because we really only played him against the Patriots this season. But I mean, he's been with the team for a couple years now. It's not like he's new. And when you go back and you look at the games that we have featured him, look at the Miami game from a season ago. You look at other games that he actually, before we got, Diggs, and before, because I remember I interviewed Isaiah on the Code of Conduct, and it was a tough conversation at one point because I'm like, well, dude, we just got stacked at wide receiver. What if you don't make it? The year prior to that, he balled out. He wasn't number one, but he balled out with a Josh Allen that wasn't this Josh Allen. So what I'm saying is,
he beat out Robert Foster.
He did. He beat out Robert Foster, and he made some big plays for us. And one of the things is, I think recency bias has us thinking this limited film on him. The Buffalo bit. I've been so I was one of the loudest ones saying get him off of special teams and put him back in the offense because we've had film. We have him running these jet sweeps, and we have him running these motions and in the slot and doing all of these different things with his speed. This is what the Buffalo Bills needed in offense. That's why early on in the season we weren't successful in the red zone. That's why we weren't successful on 3rd and short or 4th and short when we went for it, because Isaiah McKenzie and people try to, so Isaiah McKenzie, our 5th wide receiver, is the key. Yes, he's the key because when he's in there, you notice how the defense moves and they pay attention to him, and then it leaves somebody else one-on-one, or it leaves a hole for Josh to run through, or it leaves him open to catch a pass. Isaiah McKenzie is the key. And I think that, we watch the game a certain way as content creators or as fans, but I think the NFL, they watch the game on a whole different level. And like Joe was talking about, Bill Belichick watches that damn film. I guarantee you, if Isaiah McKenzie hits that, I guarantee you McKenzie is going out there.
The reason, go ahead, Jake.
Oh, I was just going to say, well, he saw what Isaiah McKenzie could do against him already.
In the comment section, people are talking about like let somebody else overpay McKenzie. I'm that way with Levi Wallace. Let somebody else overpay Levi Wallace. Let somebody else pay Levi Wallace 3 years, $28 million, $30 million, because somebody's gonna, and they're gonna be upset. McKenzie, for me, some players take time to develop. It's one of those things. And McKenzie bounced around, and he wasn't great, and he had some issues, and blah blah blah. But for me, I was gonna approach this and say, what was the moment? Okay, so before Stephon Diggs got here, right? Everybody, Bill's Twitter was Robert Foster could be a number 1 wide receiver. And it's like, are you guys out of your mind? Robert Foster is not a number 1 wide receiver. We hadn't had one. Stevie Johnson, as much as we all love Stevie was a grit player. He had moves and stuff, but he still wasn't Terrell Owens. I mean, he wasn't, you know what I mean? He wasn't not Buffalo Bills version of Terrell Owens. He wasn't like a number 1 when you think Stephon Diggs. The moment I was like, that's a number 1 wide receiver was when Stephon Diggs against the Dolphins high pointed that football. He went up, got that football, took it away from the defender. I was like, that's a number 1 wide receiver. And McKenzie is starting to make those high degree of difficulty catches. It's starting to come to him, which he struggled with the first 3-4 years of his career. In my opinion, I think he's turned a corner. I think he's worth the money.
Yeah, I think you have to be. You have to show the coaches that you're some kind of special if you're going to make this Super Bowl contending roster. You have to be of a certain ilk. So I think he is that. And to J Spence's point, when you look at the offense, I don't have the numbers to back this up, but I got eyes. When you look at the offense and he's back there running around pre-snap, the offense is humming, right? Yeah. And then you see he's off the field for a drive and we stall out. It's like 1 first down and then a 3 in a right. It's like, well, you know what I mean? I don't understand. Like, why are you going away from, using McKenzie? So I agree with him there. And to be honest, man, I think Dorsey and Brady and McKenzie, I think he would look fun in that offense, man. They're so creative. They're so creative.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of like in the sense of the Bengals, right? Brady came from LSU and then he had a brief stint with the Panthers. He's young, like he is fresh meat. You know what I mean? Hey, and Ken Dorsey is here.
Can you throw Brent Thomason's post up real quick? Because I feel like I'm going to disagree, but not in the sense that you think. He says, I don't think we would skip a beat if Lil Dirty replaces Cole at the slot. I disagree, but only in the sense of saying I think we'll be better. As much as I love Cole Beasley and as much as he's been the king of separation and as much as this year, Cole Beasley was not the Cole Beasley that we were used to. And I don't care how you want to say it. I don't care how you want to look at it. Y'all can throw every stat my way. You're not going to make me like Justus just said, we watched the game. We can see it. It's not the same Cole Beasley. You put Lil Dirty in that slot.
It's a lot more
promise you. I promise the yak is what we're missing. It's the defense is scared when he's on the field, man. It's different. Man, get my guy.
No, because if you have Isaiah McKenzie out there running those little dig routes and turning around right in front of Josh instead of Cole Beasley, or if you have McKenzie instead of Cole Beasley, instead of that 6-7 yards Cole Beasley get you, Isaiah McKenzie might get you 13, 14, or break something,
or break it. He has the speed.
Small and he's speedy, absolutely. Go ahead, Jake.
He can break it.
Oh, I was just gonna say, this takes me back to one of the first things, and obviously it's not like a new idea or anything. I think one of the biggest, misfires that the Buffalo Bills had this year was, not bringing back Andre Roberts and having to have Isaiah McKenzie. Here we go. Isaiah McKenzie.
This show may never end. This show may never end now that you brought up Andre Roberts.
All right. Well, having to have Isaiah McKenzie go take that role and them feeling with Marquez Stevenson at the beginning of the year being hurt, so they didn't really have the second option to bring in. Maybe they felt as if we don't want to put this guy in danger, so that hampered the offense and them not using him.
We like contention on it. Like it's all healthy debate. J Spence, go for it, bro.
Nah, I just y'all just know how I feel about Andre Roberts, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Like Andre Roberts, man. Like I get it. Fans, again, we want a certain performance out of every player. We want them to be perfect, right? So it's like he didn't give us touchdowns. Okay. Guess what he did give us? He gave us the ball at the 40-yard line almost every single time. Every single time.
That's right.
And guess what? Like I was watching the they did the end season, HBO did the end season of Hard Knocks this year.
Yeah.
And the week that they played the Buffalo Bills. Did you all see that?
Yeah, I didn't see the episode, but I saw the clip where they were like, he's gonna fumble.
Right. They straight up was like, he puts the ball on the ground a lot. And everybody in Buffalo have been yelling at me since the beginning of the season. No, he doesn't. He's better than everybody in the league because they looked at his return average.
The average, yeah.
In the first game, he had a 79-yard return against the Steelers, which inflated his return numbers, which is fine. It's fine. Yeah. But what he did do, he put the ball on the ground. He fumbled. He didn't even get hit that game. He didn't even get hit. And this is where I got yelled at because I was critical of Isaiah McKenzie. I love IMAC. I love IMAC.
You named him.
I don't love him on special teams. I gave him a nickname.
You named him.
Like I love this dude. I don't love him in special teams. I love him in the offense. Put him where he's a wide receiver. He's not a return specialist. Put him in the offense. Go get him. Go.
Yeah,
go ahead. Because
you agree with Jake?
Yeah. Okay. So like I was saying, that it's just like, if they brought Andre Roberts back, you don't have to take Isaiah McKenzie, who was in your offense and being a guy that you were using on jet sweeps. So now you're allocating him to, well, you have to be special teams. And, we don't really have anybody else. So we're going to put you there and you're not going to be involved in the offense as much because if you get hurt, what are we going to do? So, yeah, I just felt it's not that like Andre Roberts, of course, everyone's like, oh, he fumbled, whatever. It's just like you just have that player that you can have back there.
Did you just kind of infer that you were okay with that concept of, we're not going to put you on offense in case you get hurt? Because the Steelers never cared about Hines Ward getting hurt. Like,
I didn't say that.
The Falcons and the 49ers never cared about the Cowboys, or never cared about Deion Sanders getting hurt. It's amazing to me that like the Bills were worried about Isaiah McKenzie getting hurt, so we're not going to put him on offense, and we're supposed to be okay with it. Meanwhile, other teams do it all the time.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not.
Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown was returning punts. Tyreek Hill.
I just didn't want Micah Hyde back there. That's the only one I didn't.
For sure.
Go ahead, finish, Jake.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I don't think that is a good idea. I don't agree with it. It's just that I feel like that if that was their reasoning to do it, it's like, why didn't you just keep Andre Roberts, a guy that you're like, well, we've had you back there You know, we know what you do. Let's just keep you there. And then we have Isaiah McKenzie just keep his role in the offense.
Freaking
Not
all
have to
pro
just
punt returner, man.
Yeah.
All pro returner.
For
He
$2
made
million.
the Pro Bowl for the Buffalo Bills.
Mhm.
Like, come on, man.
$2 million.
Like,
all he got from the Texans was like
$2 million,
Yeah.
man. And you mean to tell me, come on,
we couldn't
man.
afford that? Come on now.
You borrow that money if you have to.
That's the only time, honest to God, that's the only time I really was upset at something that Brandon Beane did or didn't do.
Yeah.
Personally, that's the only time I was upset because I knew how much it was really going to affect our team. Offense matters, right? Obviously, is what the biggest is everybody's favorite side of the ball, right? Special teams sets offense up.
Yeah,
I had Boobie Dixon on the show a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about, because he was a special teams, you know, that was his role. He talked about how important, like that's where he made the bulk of his money.
Yep.
Because it's important on defense. Same thing. If you're a gunner, you want to make sure, and we got two of the best gunners, so I'm not knocking that side of it. But dude, you got it. You can't let go of an all-pro dude who's willing to take pennies. Because to me, $2 million for what Andre Roberts gave the Buffalo Bills for the last 3 seasons, that's pennies. That's pennies.
Yeah.
For the value and production you get for it. Yeah.
And Daniel's in the comments, and I know we got to go. I got to get out of here too. Daniel's in the comments said, like, Andre Roberts offered nothing as a wide receiver. We don't need him to.
Yeah.
Well, he gave us 40 yards on the return. He already gave you 40 yards.
The inverse of that is McKenzie and Stevenson offered you nothing as a return man.
At all. But the difference is Andre Roberts, look at it this way. He gave you a 40-yard reception from the end zone because we started on the 40-yard line every single time. That's how good he was.
Yeah. The teams kicked away from him. Legitimately kicked away from him. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, guys, this was an amazing show. We're going to go ahead and get into final thoughts. Again, I told you guys, this is just whatever's on your heart. It doesn't necessarily have to be football related. People do talk about the Bills, football, etc. if they want to. Just whatever you want to go talk about. Go ahead, J Spence.
Man, I just want to say thank you for having me on the show. I want to shout out your whole camp over there with Built in Buffalo. My girl Tia Estelle, sister, love T.
Love T.
And then obviously the team, just everybody on the team. Me and A Rich chopped it up over the weekend. You know, I just want to shout out everybody on y'all roster, man, because y'all doing big things. And I love the fact that we reunited and it feels so good. It's a good time to be part of this Bills content creation world, man. And I'm glad I got a family over there with y'all.
100%, bro. Glad that, you know, we were able to have you on the show and just, man, it's glad to be in you guys' presence and to have you guys, you know, back as family. So appreciate that. Joe Miller, go ahead, bro.
Yes, same vibe. Just appreciative to be on the show and just thankful for just the camaraderie just amongst the networks and the content creators. You know, we've got, I mean, save a couple people here and there. I mean, we've got a very cool vibe amongst all the content creators. I mean, you know, we all for the most part get along pretty well, and it's a lot of fun, and we're all in group chats together, and we're doing different things and favors for each other, and we're all willing to jump on everybody's shows. And I mean, it's just super cool to be a part of, and I'm just thankful to be connected to you guys. So yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. Some people like drama for no reason, but we ain't about that. It's all love over here.
Totally.
So totally agree with you, Joe.
I feel it.
Oh, man. All right.
And we weren't talking about Charlie, though. Just
I know you weren't talking. I know exactly what you was talking about. Jake Jordan, what's your final thoughts, bro?
My final thought, obviously, this is an awesome show. I've never worked with you two guys before, obviously, but, you know, it was awesome, especially getting to chop it up and talk Bills stuff. And, you know, we all have long off seasons ahead. We all have to, you know, produce content. You guys still need to go on vacation. So, you know, do that. But obviously, you know, it's awesome. And with the light of everything going on, one of the things is, and I had a good show with Justus when we talked about it, especially when the Brian Flores stuff came out, is, you know, everybody just love each other. You know, not only is it just, you know, racism and stuff like that, but like even the content creation where, like we said, just love everybody, man. We're all here on this earth together doing stuff. It's the message always stays the same. Just love each other. Everybody remember that.
100%. And shout out to you, Jake, for having that conversation on your platform. I think it was an important conversation.
I think it's needed.
And
I definitely think it's always needed.
So very dope of you to put that out there. And to I appreciate you asking me from our perspective on the situation. Man, I just it's so surreal. You know what I mean? To have the just I don't know, man. Just I feel like this was just a great show. I'm super excited about this new journey I'm going on, and I don't think there could have been a better start, man. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I really want to thank you three guys for coming on, man. You guys are amazing. Look at the comment section, everybody. Great show, and I 100% agree. Thank you guys. I love you guys. I love all of you guys in the comment section. Thank you so much for your love and support as always. Every like, tweet, comment, subscription, everything. We appreciate it. This is the Built in Buffalo Podcast Network. We appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good night. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.